If you're running Facebook ads and you're still guessing your way through it, then this video is guaranteed to fix that. I'm about to walk you through every major decision you need to make with Meta ads. No theory, just real breakdowns, so you don't keep wasting money on stuff that isn't converting. So let's jump in. Now, the first thing you do as soon as you go to Meta ads and you open up campaigns, your screen is going to look like this. And to start a new campaign, all you have to simply do is just click create. Now, once you do that, you're going to receive this pop-up. And the first drop-down you're going to see is your buying type. Now, don't overthink this, just leave it on auction. That just means that Facebook is going to run your ad against others in real time to try to win placements. It's the standard setup. You don't need to touch this unless you're doing some reserved media buys, which 99% of you watching this right now are not. But here's where it actually matters. The campaign objective. This one right here is a complete game changer. This tells Facebook what you're trying to get so it can optimize your ad to reach people most likely to take that action. So let me break down each one for you real quick. The first one is awareness. If you're launching something new or hitting cold audiences, this is a great starting point. Facebook's going to show your ad to people most likely to remember it. Not click or buy, just remember it. So don't expect conversions right away. This is for warming people up. Then underneath that, we have traffic. This is where you get people clicking through your website, Etsy shop, or your sales page. Pretty much anything you throw in front of them, they will get you clicks. Facebook's going to prioritize that as your main objective. And this is what I'm going to select today for this demo. Now, there's also engagement. This one is for want likes, comments, shares, all that social media interaction. Use this if you're trying to boost your content inside Facebook or Instagram. It's great for brand awareness. Now, next is leads. If your goal is collecting emails or having people fill out a form, this one's a solid choice. You can either use Facebook's built-in instant form or drive traffic to your own landing page. It's super helpful for growing your email list, especially if you want to target them later on. Now, right under that, you have app promotion, and that's kind of self-explanatory. If you have a mobile app, this is where you go to get installs or boost app activity. Then the last one is sales. This is the one that most people think that they need, but only use it if you have your pixel loaded on your website to track purchases. Then this will work great because it tells Facebook to find people who are ready to buy. Now, quick pro tip here. Don't guess. Start with the end goal. What do you actually want people to do? And then work backwards from there. That's how you make your decision. So for this, clicking traffic, and I'm going to click continue. Next is choosing your campaign setup. And this right here is a complete beast. Advantage Plus shopping right here is basically Facebook saying, hey, just give us your creatives, your budget, and a little direction, and we'll do the rest. If you're running an e-commerce brand and you have a decent product catalog, this is definitely the way to go. Facebook's AI will mix and match your ads, test different audiences, and scale what's working automatically. Once you have purchase history and a few hundred sales, then that's when Advantage Plus really becomes a monster. So I'm just gonna click manual traffic right now and continue. Now, if you notice, this next page pops up and you have a little option here that you can name it. This is really good. You wanna name each one so that you know later on when you're seeing exactly what worked or what didn't, which we will talk about at the end of this on how to actually understand those metrics. So for right now, I'm just gonna type in YouTube. And underneath here, you already have the buyer type, campaign objective, Advantage Plus, I have that off, and now A/B testing. Let's say you're not quite ready for AI to take that complete wheel. That's cool. You still can test manually with A/B. You could test things like different images or videos, audiences, placement such as Instagram versus Facebook versus stories, objectives, and different landing pages. Facebook will split your budget between your variations and tell you exactly which one's performing best. Just don't kill it too early. Give it at least 3 to 5 days so it has enough data to actually learn something. Otherwise, you're just going to be guessing. Now, right underneath that, you have special ad category. This honestly is not going to pertain to, again, most of you like earlier. So right here, this would be if you have financial products and services, you're going for employment, you have housing or social issues like politics or elections. If you're not doing any of that, do not worry about it. You also need approval for some of that. So if you are in one of those categories, leave me a comment below and I'll take care of that in another video for you so that you know exactly how to set that up. I'm gonna click next right now. Once we're on there, we have to do our ad set name. So I'm just gonna write YouTube again and just ad set. Now underneath there, you'll have your conversion location. This one you're going to choose if you want to go to a website, an app, message destination, your Instagram or Facebook, or calls. What do you want it? Where do you want to drive that traffic? In this case, we're going to choose website because we're actually driving the traffic to a website. If you are driving the traffic to one of these other spots, you definitely want to select that to let Facebook know. Now, right before that is performance goal. This is one of the most overlooked settings inside Facebook ads. This right here is where you tell Meta how you want your results measured. For this demo, I'm going to choose maximizing the number of link clicks. This basically tells Facebook, hey, spend my entire budget trying to get as many people as possible to click and land on my page. I'm choosing this because it's where most beginners should start. When you're just starting out, clicks matter more than purchases. It's going to allow Facebook to figure out who your audience is. Now, I'm not choosing these other options in this walkthrough, but let me give you a super quick breakdown in case you're wondering what they're used for. So the first one is maximize number of landing page views. This tells Facebook, don't just chase clicks, show my ad to people who will actually wait for the site to load and view it. Use this when you care about real traffic over just cheap clicks. Then you have maximize daily unique reach. This one's all about showing your ad to as many people as possible once per day. This is perfect for flash sales, event promos, or brand awareness. Use it when volume matters more than engagement. Underneath that, we have maximize number of conversions. This one is to optimize to get the people into your DMs, Messenger, WhatsApp, or Instagram. If you're running a chatbot, a DM sales system, or appointment booking, this is your go-to. Underneath that, the last one is maximize number of impressions. This is just about dominance. You want visibility, want people to see your ad over and over again, then this is it. It's good for launches, big promos, or when you just want to flood the feed. Now, just below that, you'll see a spot to add a cost per results goal. You could type something like 50 cents if you wanted to, right? It seems like something you would need. But here's the thing. If your audience is small or your budget is tight, this can actually choke your delivery. So if you're new and testing, I recommend leaving this blank. Let Meta do its thing. Now underneath that is dynamic creative. This is one setting people sleep on, but if you're not using it, you're leaving money on the table. When you toggle this on, you're letting Facebook mix and match your headlines, primary text, images, videos, and your call to actions. It's building personalized ad combos for different people in real time. It's basically A/B testing on steroids. This works best if you have a few different ideas, but you don't know which one's gonna hit hard. It takes all the guesswork out for you. You don't need to be a data scientist or a copywriter. You just need to load 3 or 5 versions of each piece and Meta's algorithm will test them for you. One thing though is once dynamic creative is turned on, you won't be able to preview your exact ad combos. It's all automated, so you have to completely trust them. But if you're good and you're targeting a broad audience, then this is one of the easiest ways to scale without having to build 20 ad sets manually. Now for right now, I'm just gonna keep this off so I can walk you through the entire process, but it's definitely something that you should try in the future. This is where you're either gonna set your daily budget or your lifetime budget, and you're gonna choose what you feel comfortable with, either $20 a day, $200 a day, or $2,000 a day. Now, underneath that, you have your start, and you can also do an end date. For this, when I'm starting something, I usually do it an hour in advance, and that's just because it gives me time to actually do everything and put everything together before I launch it and publish it. Otherwise, sometimes you do get an error if you're on this page for way too long and it says, hey, you're trying to launch something an hour ago. Also, for setting an end date, I actually do not check this. I like to keep my ad running and gather as much information as possible. And then if that ad is not converting, I just simply click it off and that's it, just by toggling it off in that campaign section. So this option is completely up to you on how you want to set your ad, if you want to have that end date or just let it ride. Now underneath there, you actually have budget scheduling. And this is great, especially if you know your audience and you know their shopping habits. This allows you to spend more money on certain days. So typically for me, I get a lot of sales on the 1st, 15th paydays, and also on Sundays. And that's because I run crazy sales on Sundays to try to grab out that FOMO effect. So in that case, I would want to spend more money on those days. But only do this if you understand your audience. If you don't understand the shopping habits, when they purchase, and what days or even hours most of your orders or clicks come in, then do not check this box. Going underneath that, we have our audience control. This is where you're going to select your different location. And again, just as before, if you understand your core audience and know where they're purchasing from, you could target those areas, whether it's an international order or if it's somebody in the States, and you can target the specific state even down to the city. Now, a lot of my orders come from Texas, so I normally would choose Texas. But for this demo, I'm going to use United States. And as you notice, the estimated audience size, because we are doing the whole United States, is anywhere from 152 million to 178 million. If I were to just do Texas, I'd get a lot less, and my reach would be a little different, as well as my link clicks. Also applies to how much money you're spending. Paying attention to these two numbers is really good. This is an estimate, but this number is very important because you don't want to be too broad that you're just showing your ad to everybody. Now underneath here, you have your Advantage Plus, which we talked about in the beginning. I am not going to do that. I'm actually going to switch it to the original to show you how you can actually target people if you know who your audience is. So clicking here, we're going to use original audience. Going down, you have all your different options. So you have your location and you have your age range. In this case, I'm going to choose 22 to 45. Once you're done with that, you can choose your gender. You can choose either all, men or women, whoever you want to target, who is your primary client or customer. Now right here, Advantage Plus detailed targeting, this is really where the magic happens. This is where you can dial into your customer and target them to a T. Now, the amount of information that Facebook has on us is a little scary. They know everything about us. They know who we're dating, who we're friends with, if our friend just had a baby, if our friend has a birthday coming up, if our spouse just threw something in the trash can. I mean, it is wild on how much information they have. Here's just a quick example on how crazy it is. So I posted a picture of my Porsche, and literally the next day I was getting ads as well as suggestions for groups I should join, all dedicated to Porsches. They literally scan every photo and thing that you do, probably even down to what you're typing in there. So clicking browse, you can actually go through this if you wanted to. Go to your education, go to your financials, go to your life events, go to your birthdays, friends of, new jobs, what are your parents, relationship statuses. But again, this all comes down to you actually understanding who you're targeting and who you're selling to. So in this case, I'm going to show you a couple examples and products I'm going to advertise. So for this ad, I'm actually going to use this coffee mug here, and it just says best teacher ever. I'm going to show you how you can really dial into this. So doing that, what I want to do is I want to find coffee drinkers, and you can just type. I don't have to go through this massive list of things. So if I just type in coffee, you have right here, food and drink. If I do coffee again, I have coffee houses, coffee bean. Type in coffee one more time here. We got specialty coffee. We have espresso. We have coffee preparation, iced coffee, which we're not going to choose because we are actually using a mug. Arabic coffee, that would be a good one. Now, each time that you do it, you have to click on it to get more results here. Espresso machine, no, but Nespresso, yes, because they do have those machines that will actually do it automatically for you. Lavazza, that's a coffee brand. We're going to choose that as well. We're going to do Starbucks, of course, and Keurig. Now, if you notice when I was doing all these really quick, if you see over here, it says interests, right? So let me just scroll down. You see how it says interests. This is important because it's all the interests. Like I was saying just before with the Porsche, I was posted a Porsche, the interest popped up, which was the groups as well as what I was interested in. That's how this works. If you notice, if you go through, you may have job titles and things like that, or possibly employment, which that's what we're going to target with the teacher. But for anything else, you don't want to target, say, a barista when you're selling a coffee mug. That's not going to work. But in this case, since we are targeting that teacher, this is what you would do. You add all your coffee here, and then you click define further. From there, whatever the coffee is, it must also match, meaning that the person must like coffee and what? In this case, they need to be a teacher. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to type in teacher. And if you notice, you have job titles and interests. We are not going to do interests because this could be anybody that's just interested in school or school work, right? It depends on what they've liked on Facebook in the past. In this case, we are targeting the actual job title. And the reason being is because we're trying to target teachers themselves that drink coffee. So you're going to choose that. Now, say if you wanted to actually have something that had, 9th grade on it or high school or something like that, you can target high school teachers. Same thing with primary. as well as elementary. So if you have a design or a product or even a service that targets that specific teacher and grade level, this is what you'd want to choose. In this case, since it just says teacher in general, I would just choose this for every single one of them because you never know which one's actually going to choose it. Now, really quick, just one more note. If you notice right here, it says employers. That is something that you don't want to choose. That would be the school. So you're not targeting school. Again, you're targeting people. Now that I'm done choosing those, I just chose them really quick. You can keep on going. You can go more in depth. Now I want to give you two more examples here with coffee mugs that you'd be able to use. So in this case, say if you were going for dogs, right? So say this coffee mug right here. In that case, you would keep all the coffee, but then in there, you would choose the dog. So say if I wanted a dog or a pet, I would go here, and instead of the teachers, I would just choose a pet. And as you know, pets and animals come up. Or you could choose a dog. And again, your interests of dogs and animals come up. That's how you would do that. Now, you could do the same thing for cats. However, really quick, I made these two examples for you. So this one here says, I am tiny, but I fighty. It's kind of a little comedy there, except if you notice, it has a knife. This is something you would not want to put on Facebook. It sounds stupid. I know, it's a funny coffee mug. But the issue is this little knife can get you in trouble with Facebook, and we don't want to be in Facebook jail. Another one would be here. This one, let that shit go. It's great because in this one, you could target people that like coffee, right? Define further, you go, and people that like cats. Define it even further, and people that like yoga. Coffee and cat and yoga together. That's how you really target people. However, because of the word shit, this would get flagged and that ad probably would not go out. So this is something you need to watch out for when you are running ads. You need to make sure that you are aligned with their policies. Otherwise, if they kick you off that ad, they lose trust in you. And the next time you want to run an ad, they're a little skeptical and it may take them longer to actually publish that ad for you. Now, one more thing, just a note, it doesn't have to be a coffee mug. Obviously, this is a t-shirt. In this case, you would go after more younger people in demographic, as well as basketball players, or somebody that enjoys basketball as an interest. In addition to that, you'd want to target people that like apparel or shopping. And you could do all of that right here with your define further. You would first, for that person, is choose the demographic, how old they are they male or female, what they like interest-wise, either they like basketball, whether it be college or NBA, and then defining it further on what they like to shop, what are their shopping habits like. Now, again, this is all up to you and how much you know about your audience. If you don't, then just do the automatic. Trust me, Facebook knows a lot and they're not going to fuck around. They want you to spend money, right? So they're not going to try to screw you over. They want you to succeed because the more you succeed, the more money you spend with them. So if you're unsure of any of this and how to do it, then just go the automatic route. Now, before we go next, I just want to show you really quick the big change here after choosing the coffee mugs as well as the teachers. We have an estimated audience size of 73,000 to 86,000. It's not too bad. I would kind of like this a little lower, but it's perfectly fine. It's not terrible. Our reach is 2.2 to 6.4 with an average estimated click of 47 to 137. Now I'm gonna tell you right here, I could spend $10, $15 and hit this 137 mark every single time by targeting perfectly, or at least close to it. So I'm gonna click next. And now we're gonna do our ad name. Now you're gonna add this to something, you're gonna put this as something that you'll remember. YouTube ads. So the next thing is your identity. This is where your Facebook page is, your Instagram, as well as your Threads profile. If you don't have one of those, let me explain what happened. So Facebook, you need a Facebook page in order to run these ads. However, you don't need an Instagram and you don't need a Threads profile. If you do not have one of these selected, your ads just will not show up on Instagram or Threads, which is perfectly fine. In this case, it's using Etsy Mentor, which is my course and community on school platform. I actually do not have anything on the Facebook or the Instagram page itself because I do everything from my own personal profile, which you can check out as well. Underneath that, you have your ad branding, not really needed. Then you have your ad creative. This is where you're going to start creating, your design. What do you want it to look like? What do you want it to say as the title? How do you want to get that CTA in there? And what do you want to display? So underneath that, you have your format. You have flexible, single image or video, carousel, or collection. In this case, we're going to do a single image, but if you have a collection, you can definitely do that, or a carousel where it's showing multiple products as they scroll through. Once you click on that, Once you scroll down a little further, you have your destination. Now this is extremely important. Right here, we're going to a website. In this case, it is required and you want to actually push people to a website that shows that product. For example, if you're advertising a course and that is what you're doing, then this link needs to go to that product. If Facebook analyzes it and that link is going somewhere different, then it's going to stop running that ad. And in some cases, you will lose your ad account because they look at it as that you're trying to deceive the customer. And that's not something Facebook wants to do. For this, I'm just going to type in mybrand.com. I'm not typing in anything yet. And if you notice, this changed over here, but nothing popped up. If I actually had a website URL that was going to an actual product page, the product would pop up. It's pretty cool on how that works. Now underneath that, you have your browser add-ons, which is none, call, Instagram, WhatsApp, or instant forums. In this case, we're going to a website. We don't need anybody to call us. Nobody's DMing us and nobody's messaging us on WhatsApp. So we're just going to click that as none. From here, this is where you're going to actually put your photo. So you go down here and do image add. You're going to get the following pop-up. Now again, it bases it off of your URL, but in this case, my URL is just random, so nothing is popping up. So I would move on to media. You can also add your branding here, a little text tone, your font, your visual style. This is completely up to you and how you're branding yourself. Once you click on media, that's where you're going to add your picture. In this case, I went with the teacher mug, and you notice as you go into the crop option, you can actually either zoom in on this or move it however you want it to be displayed, depending on the ad. From there, you click next, and this is where you're going to add your primary text as well as your headline and your description. Now, if you're not sure how to actually write something or you're a little stuck and wondering, okay, how do I make something pop? We can easily do this with ChatGPT. So all you have to do here is just add your picture, and I added this. Using the attached photo, create me a Facebook ad creative that will grab people's attention, make them stop scrolling and want this mug immediately. Also, add something to add some urgency to it, like limited edition or a limited time, something like that. I could also say add some emojis in here, but for this one, I'm not going to. I'm going to just click here. And there we go. It gave me just enough emojis where it's not overwhelming. But if I were to say add emojis, it probably would have blew the whole thing up. So if you notice here, it says stop scrolling. Your favorite teacher deserves this. This means that it's really targeting gift givers more than targeting the teacher themselves. Now, if you remember earlier, I was choosing the actual teacher. So I don't want to target gift givers. So in this case, I like what this wrote. However, because of who I'm targeting, this won't work for me. So I'm going to say, I need this to be for the teacher themselves looking to buy, not as a gift. And there we go. It gave us another one. You deserve to start your day with this mug. You give your best every day. Now it's time to treat yourself like the best teacher ever, because you are. This mug isn't just cute, it's your daily reminder of the impact you make, the lives you touch, and the love you give to every student. So before we actually grab this, I'm going to say I also need a headline and description. Now it changed it up a little bit for me, so I could still use this top part if I want to, or I could just go with the new ad creative that it created. It's completely up to you. You can continuously do this, and I have a ton of marketing prompts that I launched in an earlier video a couple months ago. So make sure you check that out. In this case, it gave us a whole different ad copy. However, we could still use this one right here as the primary and then use this as, the headline and description. But just for this sole purpose, I'm just going to use this just to make it easier. Now, if you're curious on any marketing prompts for ChatGPT, make sure you check out this video. I go a lot further in depth in that video, and I'm talking about paragraph on paragraphs of stuff to make sure that you get the best chances of success, whether you sell products or services. And that will be a game changer for you. So make sure you check that out. Now for this, I'm just going to use here, copy this, go back into Facebook, type that in the primary text. Now in this case, we're just going to put these buttons down. I really honestly don't even like this. I like the other one much better. So maybe I will choose the other one. Back here, okay. I just like this one so much better. It really does pop, and it has a lot more of that emotional connection, which is what you want to create, that emotion. You want to have somebody feel like they're investing in it and want to purchase it before getting off the page. Underneath there, we're going to do our headline. So go down here, best teacher ever, that's you, and our description. Now, if you noticed, as I was typing this in, Facebook's Advantage Creative Text Generator was popping up. In here, I can actually check mark, and that was just in the beginning of the video. So if you missed that, make sure you jump back to that. But this would test it based off of if you chose one. It will say, okay, well, let's try this primary text on say 1 to 2 p.m. And now let's try this text from 3 to 4 p.m. That's how that works. So if you want to test these, make sure they're check marked before you click next. Now, once you're done with that, this is something actually, it's been around for a little while and they're getting better, but they're not 100% up to par yet. AI over here generates these little image variations for you. However, it doesn't take the actual design that you give it. If you notice, the design was changed. Best mug get your, what, I can't even read. I'd have to zoom in over here because I have my laptop open, but seriously, it changes every single thing. So this is still something that I guess Facebook's working out the kinks on. Hopefully they figure that out soon, because you don't want to choose a variation or one of these options and it doesn't even actually look like the mug that you're selling. So in this case, unchecked, skip and continue. And then your enhancements if you want to add 3D animation or translating text, which we do not need in this case. Now, once you click done, you'll see that your ads come up over here on the right. And if I scroll down, you can see what it looks like, see more, and this is where it pops up with all the information. Scrolling down here, you can see what it looks like on Instagram. You can see what it looks like on a story and even video feeds. Now, this is great because you want to make sure that what you're advertising and selling looks good in each one of these situations. If you don't like it, you can actually check right here on which one you actually don't want it to show for. I usually keep these all checked, and the reason being is because Facebook will show it on every single section. And if one of them is doing better than the other, it's just going to push it that way. So say if it's working better on Instagram, it's going to push it on Instagram. If it's working better on Instagram stories, it's going to push it on Instagram stories versus actually posting it. Same thing for Facebook. If it's working on Facebook, it's going to push it on Facebook. Where is it working on Facebook? That's where it's going to make sure your ad is being seen. And again, like I said, Facebook wants you to make money, so you spend more money. So they're going to do the best that they can to get this in front of the right people for you and the right eyes. Now, once you're done with that, you can scroll down all the way to the end here and you'll see the URL parameters. Now, this is for tracking. It's not really necessary. It is an optional thing. If you have a Pixel, don't even need it. The Pixel will track everything for you, but this is a good way just to see for yourself that you can track it on your end. Now, once you're set up and you like everything here, all you click is publish and you're good to go. Now, typically it takes 24 to 48 hours for them to approve it. However, if you run a lot of ads like myself, then really you'll get that up and running within 20-30 minutes. Sometimes even sooner. Just make sure that you stick with the policies that Facebook has set. You don't want to go outside of that because, again, you're trying to build trust with Facebook. The more that they trust you, the faster they will launch your ad and the more successful you will be. So I already ran an ad. I'm just going to go into the metrics so I can teach you what the metrics mean here. Now, once your ad's been running for a little while, you need to start paying attention to your numbers. Not just the likes or clicks, you want to understand your metrics. So I'm going to walk you through exactly what each column inside Meta Ads Manager actually means. Now, I only ran this ad for one day and it was going to an Etsy listing. So unfortunately, there wasn't any pixel attached, but the sales doubled that day. And without the pixel, I can't say for sure it was exactly that ad, but I'm gonna say this, sales just don't double for no reason. So I'm pretty certain it was this ad. Now, in this case, this ad that I ran wasn't actually for teachers. It was going to a cat mug. So I target coffee lovers and people that liked cats as well as pets in general. So let me show you these results. So the first thing is your campaign name right here. Now, in my case, it was the Everbee course, and that's because I ran this ad specifically for a course I was doing for Everbee. You want to make sure that you name these something that you'll remember later on. So when you're checking your metrics, you know, okay, this ad for this product is doing that, because you don't normally get a picture to be able to see it. What ad you're running and what audience you're targeting is important because this will allow you to understand what's working and what's not. Next is ad set name. This is the section under your campaign. Now mine was EB ad set. Each ad set can have its own targeting, placement, and budget. So label them in a way that tells you exactly what you're testing. Next to that is delivery. This shows if your ad's active or not. Mine's no longer active, meaning it's no longer live. Next is your reach. This is how many unique people saw your ad at least once. Mine hit 2,497 people. Now the impressions, this is how many total times your ad was shown, including repeats, 2,732 in my case. So on average, people saw it more than once. That's where frequency comes in. This tells you how many times each person saw your ad. Again, mine was 1.09. So most people only saw it once, which is fine, but a tiny fraction of people saw it more than once, maybe one or two. Now results, this matches your campaign objective. Mine was 128 link clicks, which is pretty good for a short burst test. My amount spent was $14.49. Cost per result, that's your cost per your link click. $14.49 divided by 128 equals 11 cents per click. Now, since Etsy doesn't allow the pixel, I had to manually watch the store to get an idea if this was performing or not. Now, if you're using a website, you can install a pixel and you'll know exactly what's working every single time. No guessing, no relying on patterns. That's the power of running ads the right way. And that's how you officially run meta ads. Now get out there, launch your first ad and start blowing up your site today. It's time to make that money. And don't forget, check out my marketing prompts on how to really take FB and IG ads to the next level. If you have any questions, please leave me a comment below. You know I love to hear from you. And thank you so much for watching. Talk to you soon.